start. I think Steve's coming, but it's going to be a bit late. I'm not quite sure where Chris is. This is my first sharing of the meeting. I will do my best. Right. There are no members of the public.
No.
So public question time is not relevant at the moment. Jen's turned the recording on, the meeting. If anyone else wants to record, please say now. No? Apologies, we've got.
Yes. So I've emailed out apologies and passed them to Councillor Burgett as well. So you know which councillors have sent in apologies, and also that Councillor Ramsby, as the chair has said, is possibly going to be late.
So do we have to accept the apologies? Is it formal requirement?
You do need to take a vote on accepting the reasons.
Okay.
And also to note that Councillor Andy Wilson has resigned from the committee, and you've all seen the email regarding that.
Hold on. Right, so the next part of the agenda is to elect a vice chair. So do we have any nominations from the court?
Can I nominate Councillor Davis?
Okay. Do you have a seconder? Isaac? Yeah.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Green.
Okay, and do you have a seconder? Jenny? Okay.
Do we know if Councillor Green is willing to stand?
Yes, I personally do. Yes.
So what I suggest then is you're looking for who gets the most votes. So both candidates are put to the vote.
Okay. So who would like Harry to be the vice chair?
So that's three.
Okay. And who would vote for Chris Green to be the vice chair?
Apologies for my letter writing.
That's okay. Receipt of DPIs. Are you going to make
Yes,
any
so-
comments about that?
Yes, so thank you to councillors who've returned revised forms. I've not had any opportunity to process them, unfortunately, and I apologise for that. They will be processed for full council on the 23rd of June.
Can I just say that I think in the past you've actually emailed them to us, haven't you? They've come to us, they've asked us to look at them and then delete them.
That's right.
Is it not sufficient that they're online and we all have a responsibility to look at them online? It just seems...
But the revised forms aren't online yet.
But they will be, that's what I'm saying. When they go online, there's no need to email them all to us. Is that...
That's entirely up to
That's
you.
just what I'm proposing, because I think it's an unnecessary job, both for you and then for us to remember to delete them.
I would suggest that this is a matter for full council,
Okay.
and it might be something to put to full council on the 23rd for the next time. I mean, I'm minded to carry on with how we've done it in the past,
Yeah.
but that's certainly will streamline work for the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
So if that's okay, I'll put it on
That's
the
what we've
agenda.
been aiming to do, is streamline work, isn't it? So we're trying.
Okay. There is one item to be discussed in private session, isn't there, which is the quotations for solar panels.
Do you want to have a look first of all at item 6, Chair, and members and officers
Oh,
personally
sorry.
in disclosable interest in items
Oh,
on the agenda?
Oh, sorry. Yes. So, Sarah.
Yeah, one from me. It's the youth club's one.
Youth club.
Because I'm a director of Balisanka. I mean,
Happy one.
I am, but that's not the relevant one. The relevant one is the Cafe 100
Okay.
for our director.
And was there another hand raised? No? No, just Sarah. Okay. Right, so, yeah, number 7, am I right in thinking
Yes.
that's a solar panel?
Yeah, so
Discussion is private.
in item 10 on home first toilets, councillors will be aware that information regarding a quotation for solar panels was distributed under separate cover. And if councillors wish to comment on that information, then I suggest the item is heard in private session due to commercial sensitivity.
Okay.
Chair, can I raise another item, which is item 252613, which is about New Mill Closed Churchyard.
Yes.
Could that be heard in private session as well? The reason being that there's likely to be some commercially sensitive information in it,
Oh,
which
right,
may
okay.
have an impact on the procurement process that we expect to
Okay.
go through for maintenance.
Okay.
Take a vote on that?
Do we have to vote on that yet? But that's okay? Just write that email. Right, so the next one is to approve the minutes of the last service provision.
They're for noting, Chair, they were approved at annual council on Monday the 19th of May.
Right.
So they're just a note and to also receive some information, if I may. So minute 242576, Kirklees has provided an invoice for the lit Christmas tree supplied for Home First Centre, and this has been paid. And also to do with minute 242580, Home First Civic Hall Community Trust. As you know, that now forms part of the remit of the Finance and Management Committee, but there was an action for myself to relay feedback regarding the interiors project and seek a response and to request a breakdown of works and costs for 2025-26. The requests were made and the response has been conveyed to councillors since then.
Chair.
Sorry.
In fact, I might just have missed this, but the action that you just said about paying EPICs, did you just say you've done that for the decorated? It just says here, the matters arriving from the minutes.
Yeah.
Am I racing ahead? I think I'm racing ahead, so ignore me. I was thinking that this was an item from the agenda, and it's not. I'm sorry.
Okay. What you referred to will come up when we
It
discuss.
is explained today, I'm
Yeah,
just spotting it. I was looking at the wrong bit.
Right, so we've noted the minutes. Now we're looking at the budget, number 9. And James, we're going to report on the way that it's been laid out there.
Yes, I've not got a lot more to say than what's actually shown in the budget, except that the Finance and Management Committee last week is requesting that the committee reports back on its intended use of EMRs. So what I think Finance and Management are wanting are just some guidance as to the fact that this committee does have plans for all the EMRs under its control and knows how that money is going to be spent or when it's going to come up in this particular council year, if that makes sense.
Yeah. We're going to discuss this as we go along. I think it will become evident and talk of the toilets.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And the next thing is the public toilet and the outside building update.
Yeah, so
We're
we're
going to just
on
comment
to item 252611.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So-
progress regarding the process, the tendering process for the toilets and the maintenance
Yeah,
of other assets.
This is my biggest headache at the moment, finding time to progress this. You are aware from previous meetings where we've got to with this, and that a working group consisting of Councillor Bailey, Dixon, Kirkby, Morgan, was appointed to take this forward. And I've just literally not had time to set up a meeting for this group at all. And it is, you know, if anything was going to make me lose sleep, it would be this. I'm not losing sleep, but if anything was going to make me lose sleep, it would be this. Because I really feel this now needs to be taken to conclusion. So I'm sharing that with you as a committee, so that you are aware that this is one of my priorities at the moment, to try and get this working group up and running, and to progress to actually doing a tendering process. It was partly delayed because new legislation came in, and I've had the training for that back in the early winter in November, so I have had the training regarding what needs to go into the procurement process for this, but it just needs to carry on. And also, because we've not got to a point where we put the contracts out to tender, we do need to extend the current contracts for the toilets and maintenance of our smaller assets. I'm suggesting on a rolling month-by-month basis until the 31st of December 2025, or the completion of the tendering process, whichever is sooner. I would like you to consider that.
Okay. And do you need some help with this?
It
feels that the burden's on you to
Yeah.
contact us, but do we need to be helping a little bit?
No, I think I'm the obvious person to arrange the meeting. It's just been that other priorities have come along that have been more urgent, a lot of which is to do with the civic and so forth, as you're all well aware. So Endeavour projects, like the toilets project, has ended up being a bigger one than we thought it was going to be, but it's a good project. So,
Okay.
you know, in this one, because we were at a certain point where, you know, we know that John's going to carry on working for us until we've got this, it's never reached. It's never reached the absolute top priority, but it needs to.
So we consider that. There's nothing more.
Yes. So
Nothing more to be done.
yeah. So as an action arising, can I ask the committee to consider extending the current contracts for the home first toilets and maintenance of small assets on a rolling month-by-month basis until the 31st of December 2025, or the completion of the tendering process, whichever is soonest.
Okay. So we need someone to propose that. Yeah, and second. And all those in favour of doing that?
Thank you. And also, do you want to, because this is the first Service Provision Committee meeting of this council year, do you want to review the membership and the remit of the maintenance contracts and procurement working group? Currently has Councillor Bailey, Councillor Dixon, Councillor Kirkby, Councillor Morgan, so it's whether or not they're still all willing to be part of it.
Are you okay? I'm okay with that. Are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Does anyone want to add themselves in?
Or even something like that.
Okay. So apropos of that, we've got John Ford's contractor's report about what he's been doing, which is quite thorough. He's been putting boxes and a line of jobs to be done on benches and whatnot, which I thought was quite thorough. And, nothing to flag up. Although you thought, Jenny, that there was a mistake in the actual money.
This was just the one about the phone box painting for Home Village. This is me because, you know, I'm new to this committee, so I don't quite know how it works. But there he says 5 litres of paint, £68, and some more paint, £40, and then the total for that is 708. Now, is that 600 his fee for doing it, or is that a typo? This is G2. Invoice for the phone box
Yeah.
painting.
So the 708, what he's not listed there is the labour, is it?
That's what I,
Yeah.
yeah, so it will be 600 for the labour.
Yes.
That's fine.
It's probably done work. It's probably done work to the insides of it as well.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm fine, I just thought, I didn't know whether, I don't know how he invoices for jobs like that, whether it's, I don't know how he gets paid for it. So
Yes.
I
So,
was
so
just-
that's an additional job. It's sort of outside of his
That's fine,
contract.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Can I speak to this item a little bit, Chair? Is that
Yes,
okay?
yeah.
So you might want to note the addition of the COVID Memorial Orchard to the list of things that John is doing for us and will be part of the future maintenance contract as well. And you know, that just nice that we've got to that point, Mary. I'm sure you'll. What the Hepworth War Memorial. Thank you to councillors who provided details of stonemasons who are able to quote for the work. I have not yet got in contact with them, but I shall following this meeting. And once the quotes are received, then the application to the War Memorial Trust can be completed. And as you're all aware, there is an EMR. There is money put aside should the application not be successful. Also, committee members will be aware that shortly before the opening of the Sands Memorial Orchard, it was discovered that the council would need to apply for permission to install a plaque. That application has been submitted back in April and a response is being chased. Can I also just go through some of the benches that have been serviced so far this year? So all the upper home valley benches have been visited, tidied up and swept. The Digley embankment A8 bench has been repaired. The A9 Bilbury embankment has had a new memorial plaque installed. Bench C4 on Wallsbank Cartworth, that's my local one, has been refurbished. Not because I asked it to be refurbished and right just that. All the Hepworth benches and some of the Central Homeford benches were visited in March. We're aware that the bench on Scarhole Lane needs a repair and John's on with that. Honley benches were visited the 6th of March plus some others, so a total of 59 benches have been visited, tidied up and repaired as necessary so far this year.
Can I ask a question, Chair, just from this report, that he also mentioned two benches on the library in Curly Garden and said that he'd supplied padlocks and chains. And I thought, why?
Because
Why aren't they? Well, why aren't they just set into the ground? Because that's a bad look. Because he did that a bit on some benches in my area when I did the survey. Yes, Glenn?
Oh, sorry, I'll let
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was just going to say that where they're positioned at the moment is only temporary, pending the complete redevelopment of the garden. Once the garden's been redeveloped, they will be actually moved into the garden and will be secured.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Tom.
There's a bench in front of the swimming pool at Sands, and it's absolutely ruined. It's like bits of it's all missing, it's falling apart. I'm not sure if it's ours or not, because it's on Kirklees Line, but I was looking at it yesterday, so I went down to Sands, and there is like the parish council logo on it, on the actual metal bits at the side. So I don't, it's not on, ours are always on the highway, and they're not on the Kirklees Line, so I'm not sure if it's ours or not. But,
Yeah, because when I go swimming, I've seen that bench. It's not on our asset map, I think.
yeah, it might be worth, well, if it's not ours then, the point is Kirklees, if you could have a word with John possibly. 'Cause it looks really bad, doesn't it? You've seen it as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It looks rubbish.
Could it have been missed off our map of assets, do you think?
Well, if it's actually got one of our little logos
I
on
was
it.
going to
It's
say,
got like a coat of arms on it, but it looks like a really old set of like legs that we had
metal
from
legs, yeah.
because you see the different benches that we've got throughout the different years, and some of them look, they all look different, don't they?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this is just like a really old one or what. It could be Kirklees' logo. I'm not 100% sure.
I'll have a double check. and if it is ours, I'll get John on it. If it seems to be Kirklees, I'll contact Kirklees.
Thanks, Jen.
Chair, can I just, sorry, separate to that.
Yes.
I think John mentions in his report about the Hay Edge bus shelter,
Yes.
which is a perpetual problem, which he's tried to fix. It's I think mainly because it's unusual, because it's a double shelter. There's a shelter at the front and another shelter at the back with a roof that comes down like that.
It's also got roofing patch one.
Yeah,
Not
it's
got a solid roof.
he's patched it up before, and I've invited John. I'll chase this up actually to meet with me up there, and I'll talk to the Residents Association about it as well. I think because
You need a better fix than that.
That's right, and it may be that then costs, but I think we need to look at it in the long term.
While we're on this item, can I just mention, I believe that some of the Onley community associations are still interested in having a ceiling roof installed on one of their shelters.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if the committee wants to discuss that at all.
Yes, the bus shelter in the middle of Honley, the people who look after the centre of Honley, through the Middlesex Community Trust, have had quotes and had a look at the roof of the bus shelter, which one of the structural engineers thinks is slightly dipping in the middle, so it might be looking at anyway. But they're quite happy to fund it if we get permission, they get permission from us to put a cedar roof on. And as we've just had a Honley Open Gardens, we're feeling a bit flush, so
And so you go ahead then.
yeah. I did try and contact Sylvia Sellon, who was the person who was leading this, but I rang her up and she was in Stockholm, so I put the phone to Sylvia. So I haven't had a reply from her, but she's the one who's been initiating the investigations. So I think it's perhaps for us to decide in principle whether we think that's a good idea, particularly as they're offering the money to do it. But it is our bus shelter and it's one that John Ford looks after.
What would be the downside of having a cedar roof on it?
Nothing.
The reason it's not gone forward before is because in John's view is that it's not, that the structure isn't strong enough to support a cedar roof. But I mean, this is an offer to make good any works needed, isn't it, as I understand it?
It's not going to be a sort of fly-by-night thing. They're really going to have a look at it and make sure the structure is sound before they commit. And it might be in the end that it doesn't work, but they would like to have a go to remove on it.
Fine by me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they're willing to invest in
Are
it,
they going to put right the structure then, the roof,
I
to
don't know.
strengthen it?
But they have to find out,
Yeah.
really.
But is it going to be like the toilet roof and solar panels?
Start off with full
But
idea.
I don't see any harm in exploring the costs and seeing if the roof is sound. And if it's not sound, it's our asset and we probably have to rectify that anyway, don't we? We have to maintain that asset. So I support it in that the cedar roof would hit our biodiversity policy. And I also think it might be a slight tourist attraction as well. It makes Honley look cool place to
Make a note of that, Chris.
Yeah.
So it's better if we can get a new brick then.
Let's put a Google Maps.
The one next to the
Bush shelter,
shelter.
cedar roof.
They moved it, I'm trying to get them to come and fetch it and bring a new one.
So in principle,
In principle, I definitely agree, but is it also a possibility to test it out with this one at Convict and then recommend it for Hay Edge? If this felt roof is constantly in need of repair, would a cedar roof be a solution there?
That's an interesting thought.
Put a cedar roof on the bus shelter.
Right.
No idea.
Rather than
You'll be surprised to know.
It's like
Well,
that, isn't it?
Let's look at the Honda one and see how that goes, and then if it's a success, then why not roll it out to all of us?
Yeah.
Good idea.
I didn't declare it at the beginning, but as being part of Friends of Honley Committee and Honley Open Gardens Committee, I won't be speaking or voting on this.
Okay.
You can if you want them.
Well, I mean, I think it's a good idea, don't get me wrong. I think it's a very good idea, I just won't vote for the, as Alex said,
But you are allowed to say whether you're for or against.
I'm definitely for it.
I think we should let you vote.
Okay, so,
So
Shall we
you're
commit that then?
looking for a motion to support in principle, giving permission to, which of the Homley groups is it?
It's friends of Homley.
The Friends of Homley to explore and cost, to explore and cost and pay
Yeah.
yes.
for works for the installation of a sedum roof at, and I'll find out exactly which shelter it is.
And
It's
it's
the bottom of Church Street.
Yeah.
bottom of Church Street.
Can I just declare that I volunteer for Friends of Home? I just want to declare that as an interest, but I don't get any otherwise.
Is that the motion you want?
So the motion is that we, in principle, we agree that there will be permission for that because it's our shelter. Yeah. So
Yeah.
who would propose, you propose that?
Propose it, yes.
I second it. Okay, yeah. And all those in favour?
Right. So I'll put down.
I'm just not voting. 'cause
Oh,
it's
sorry.
declared
Yes,
an interest.
You can first, if you want to.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah, that's okay.
public perception, that's what it is.
Okay.
Right. So and I'll put down an action for me to write to Friends of Homley.
We could do that, or I can take responsibility of getting in touch with.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'll do it, because the feedback from Stockholm, sure,
Lovely. That's great.
She's back next week, isn't she?
is she?
I think so, yeah.
Not terrible, ring her up. Right, and then, so I think there isn't anything to say about the memorial, orchards, is there?
No,
It's John mentioned it, that to leave an oak tree
yeah.
in its report, but that's incidental, is it?
Nothing further to say about it.
Okay.
From what you put in the report, I think.
Right, so the next bit is the New Mill Close Cemetery, which you wanted to talk about once.
Well, I think Jen and I are doing a double act here.
Yeah, and we're going into private session, aren't we?
Yeah. Next point is Christmas tree provision.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot in the agenda about this. Because of the work that was done last year, really, we're set up, we know what direction we're going in with Christmas provision. The one thing I do want to draw your attention to is that you will either have to consider Christmas tree grants on either the 22nd of September or the 17th of November, and I just wonder if 17th of November isn't somewhat too late. And given that usually we're looking at grants in September, maybe you want to consider not just the Home First Christmas team and Homley Christmas team grant applications that will, I'm sure, come, that there's something that will definitely come in, but whether you want to do Christmas tree stroke decorations grants on the 22nd of September as well. In which case, thinking of that, I've slightly amended the forms. I've shown you what I think a rolling grant application form would look like, because of course you did, as a committee, approve a number of rolling grants for the Christmas trees that were installed last year. But you've also got a plain grant application because you had, was it 3 late applicants last year? Upperthorne, the Royal Oak Upperthorne, New Mill Club, Clovier's Arms and Netherthorne. And so I'm looking for a steer from the council about what to do about those, whether you want me to contact them and say, right, you weren't given a rolling application, rolling grant last time because your application came in late. We are going to be considering grants in September. You can apply, and this is the form you'll need to do it from. But also, what about Wooldale? Because Wooldale is the one ward that at the moment we don't give anything to. So whether there are suggestions or steers of the places you particularly want me to contact over seeing if we can get a grant established for Wooldale as well.
Okay, Lawrence and Tom?
Well, firstly on Waldale, reason Steve will connect to this is it wasn't for the want of trying. And I think, you know, I have to say, I think we would welcome an application from them. It just wasn't forthcoming.
Right.
So,
I mean, Wooldale, the community from the pub, preempted action when they heard Kirklees were not going to be giving a tree to Wooldale, and planted one themselves
Right.
way before we got round to considering granting trees for local groups.
but didn't decorate it.
And they didn't decorate it,
Oh.
but it's a permanent tree.
Grant application in just for the
In,
lights.
well, pretty much where the Kirklees used to put the cut tree. They've
The edge
now,
of the plane.
at the end, there's a playground.
So they are halfway there, maybe what Donna suggests is right, but maybe they just need a bit of a nudge to apply for some money for some.
For grant money for the lights.
Yeah.
But, I mean, Lawrence and I looked at the price, or Lawrence looked at the price of a cherry picker.
In response to their request.
Not my It is fairly horrendous to hire a cherry picker to put lights on. It wouldn't be covered by our grant, let's put it like
That
that.
tree's tiny though, I could do it standing up.
Yeah, but in a few years' time.
Oh, yeah. We'll worry about that later on.
Did you want to say something, Tom?
New Mill was one of the ones that put the form in late, but they did fill in the form, so do they qualify as a rolling grant, or do they have to do this something?
They will need to apply again this year, and when they
Right.
apply again this year, it could be, you know, taken on as a rolling grant.
Because they are keen to do it and carry on with it like they did do this year, so I will make sure that they get their form filled in plenty of time this year.
I just want to clarify, we don't put the lights on for people, do they? They apply for 250 quid. If they want to put that towards cherry picker
Yeah,
or whatever they need, that's
Yeah,
their insurance.
I'll speak to people in New Mill, and I will suggest they apply for a one-off grant for lights.
For all of it,
For Wooldale, which they
yeah.
will then
Did you want to-
apply or
Yeah.
put up.
I'd like to suggest that we give a steer to the clerk to do number 4, which is all of the above.
Could I just clarify, one of those that's listed was the Closures Arms.
Yes.
The only reason that meant that we gave 2 grants last year to Neverthorne. In fact, they had 3 trees, I think, in total. 2 of which were funded by us. And I have to say, you know, the main reason we did that was because we had some money left in the pot. And they are very nicely. But my suggestion was that we adopt a policy of not funding any more than 1 tree
Per
in any
village.
village. Yeah.
Per ward. Per ward or village?
No, not per ward, because if you look at Upper Home Valley, for example,
It's got Omage,
there are several. Yeah. So I think it's more
Like
accurate.
at Jackson Bridge as well, but then, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Skulls and
Edge.
Head Edge. So I think per village seems to make sense.
Yeah.
I concur with Lawrence, it doesn't seem in keeping with our climate emergency concerns to fund 2 trees in one.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I thought it was a bit ambivalent about that in the first place. Right. So, yes, those who didn't apply the rules properly, they apply again, a fresh application. And
Yeah.
the others were rolling.
Just to say, I'm still waiting for evaluations to come in for because they can't be rolling grants in any case unless they get their evaluations in. So I'm about to chase that up. And also, just to mention about Wooldale, Wooldale Allotments did a fantastic display in the phone box, the bench box. They did a really good display, and it may be because that'll be one of the ones that I contact because they did it and said, look, when I contacted them, they said, oh, you know, we've done it, but can we ask you for the money? And I said, well, not really, it doesn't quite work like that. But I will contact them this year because they did a really good display.
Yeah, I think so.
I think, can I just remind you, I think actually you contacted quite a number of different organisations, didn't you? And around Wardell, and there just wasn't much collaboration at all between those different organisations.
I think we was going to have that problem actually, different vested interests. Right, so
do all four.
do
Yeah, right, okay. And are you happy with the, because I did tweak the application forms. I've got a date wrong actually, because I said the lights could only be on from 1st of December to the 7th of December, but you actually agreed until the 6th of January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put it in here that it's till the 7th of January, but I've changed that to the 6th.
Yeah.
I misremembered it. So if you're happy with the forms, we can get started with that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Right. Dog waste management, public area litter. Lawrence Road, the report about this. Can you consider any other actions with regards to this project? Do you want to speak about it at all? What you wrote
Not
is-
particularly, if Mary wants to add anything to, no, I just, go with what it is,
I
I
think
think
it's
we're looking, yeah,
Yeah, it's fine.
unless Jen's got any update on feedback.
I've got feedback from the volunteers that keep dispensers stocked up. They're all willing to carry on. They believe it's having an impact, and that the dog waste issue is no worse and perhaps a little better than in the past. All of them said in one way or another that they thought it was an important thing that the parish council was doing, seemed to be taking a lead on the issue. The problem of multiple numbers of bags being taken by some of the dispensers, from some of the dispensers, the volunteers have found ways around that in terms of how they restock. So some are putting fewer in, but doing it more regularly. Some of them, when it happens, they then don't restock that bin for a while, and then things seem to get back onto an even keel. But they are aware that that can be an issue. From their perspective, it doesn't outweigh the usefulness of having the dispensers there. One point that was made by a number of the volunteers is about signage, just saying that basically signage more generally about dog waste, asking people to use bags and things could be better. So that was the feedback.
Can I just ask how you recruited these volunteers?
Well, I inherited them from Liz, mostly, and
You should be rewarded them in some way.
yeah, in the past, you as a committee have wanted to send them Christmas cards and things like that, which we could do again, certainly. And some people have been recruited by volunteers who no longer want to do it.
Okay, how many of them are there?
There's about 8 altogether.
Is it a specific group called the Dog Waste?
Or something.
I'm just wondering whether they, if they're a sort of cohesive group, so they're just volunteers,
Yeah.
so they wouldn't come and have a stand at the community event saying dog waste.
Invite along and buy them a piece of cake.
Can I ask a question? Did you get any feedback on the fact of full dog waste bags being put in the the bag dispensers? Just out of interest, because that's what happened at Meltham, and that's why they scrapped it.
It's something
Don't
they're
really know any more
looking
about
for as well.
Yeah. We have had some issues with that, which we've looked at in the previous year, haven't we? One dispenser we took down
Yeah.
because it was just being misused,
I just
and
know
it was
Meltham and that one,
causing
they've just scrapped
it was
it.
causing such a problem for the people who live near it, and they tried to sort of take over the slot and everything. So we did take that one down. That was particularly problematic over that. And just to say, there were 2. I don't know if Lawrence wants to say anything about this, but there were 2 bins in sands just for dog poo that had been provided by a previous volunteer who's since retired. They've now been removed by Kirklees, and the parish council has funded 2 new bins for sands. They've been ordered. I've been chasing them up. I don't know when they're going to be installed, but they have been ordered, and we've not yet received an invoice for them, but that's underway. And yeah, so things have progressed.
If they're asking for improved signage, how are we going to get that done? You know, if they're saying there should be better signage,
Yeah.
what do we need to do about it?
Are there some good examples of how?
No, it's a challenge. It's proven a challenge in Sands, shall I say. We wanted to do exactly this in Sands, you know, because
Yeah.
we thought there was a lack of, for some people, it's just a lack of understanding. Where should I put this bag?
Yes, yes.
And the fact that they can actually put it in any of the bins, except the ones where it says don't put it in, which are by play areas and so on. But we didn't have any success in getting. Do you want to say anything about this, Mary? Because I might be a little bit testy about it.
I think it's really pretty disappointing, really, because there's a new park and stride route which goes around the back of the bowling club and the cricket club, and it would make a lot of sense to actually have a bin at the entrance to the park there for people leaving to put stuff in. And I think we wanted to try very hard to get some movement, but there was nothing, was there? We didn't get any movement in terms of signage or sighting of these new.
Is that got to come from Kirklees? Is that the problem?
Well, on that particular area, that's Kirklees land.
Right, so
And
it has
their
to be their
responsibility.
signage.
I'm pretty sure that in lots of the other areas, generally, you know, it will be on highways, sort of land. I'm thinking.
So we can't do anything about that except Kirklees?
Sorry, so Harry's just been waiting to say.
You said you've ordered 2 bins, who's going to be responsible for emptying them? Because I presume that's slightly got rid of them.
Kirklees. Yeah.
The ones that were there before were just kind of like old dustbins. They weren't official Kirklees bins, and the ones that some random people have put there to do their own thing.
So it will be better.
All the time.
I presume they're just general waste bins, because Kirklees don't do
Yeah, but
waste bins.
the new,
Makes
more
it
solid
hard.
kind, so it's easier to.
For the sands by the footpath, could we put it possibly on the cricket club land with their agreement and Kirklees empty it? If Kirklees are being awkward about having it on their land.
I think the emptying is a big part of the.
Is that the problem?
Yeah, it's not on their routes and so
Yes.
on. Because I think you're probably right. I mean, actually, if you go by the cricket club, people do actually just dump their stuff in their bins and their skip or whatever. So yeah, I think the emptying is a big problem. Because we were going to pay for the bins.
Yeah.
So still, the problem would be to get some better signage and have a think how to do it. Right.
Just to say, do you want to review the membership and remit of the working group? It's currently Councillor Bailey, Councillor Blacker and Councillor Ryder. Don't know if we've got any more volunteers, and if those people are happy to continue.
It's such an attractive.
I'm not sure
Something
there's
I pick up
I'm
from
not
my
sure there's any
talking
point
to
in continuing with the working group.
With a couple of tasks.
I think we cover the tasks.
Yeah, I mean, could we just suggest that there's something as a committee that we just look at a bit of signage thing?
I don't think we need the working group. I think we
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, just that
Yeah.
there's one thing outstanding. Let's get some decent signs that explain how you use the bin.
Well, there are a couple of other things we could still finish off. I think I know Tom brought up a while ago about working with schools and so on, and seeing whether we can run some sort of scheme with them in promoting responsible, sort of dog owning.
They are the future dog owners, aren't they? And trying to teach them to not be like tracks that are around now. And as well, people respond to posters like children do. There's a lot of cute posters that they do, and hopefully might appeal to some of them idiots that don't pick up.
So does anyone want to volunteer to take that as a project?
Can the working group do that? Can they do that as a project to work with the school?
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering whether figured working group, not just loading it back on each 2 days.
Yes, we can, Mary.
I think it's highly unlikely that Jane Riley will wish to continue as part of the working group. So I think probably down to them tonight. So.
Yeah. So you have to say no if you don't want to do it. It's on.
New Law School, I spoke to the headmistress there before about it, because there was somebody who kept on leaving a lot of dog muck around by the school before it was a problem. And it has got better recently, after I reported a certain person to the dog warden, and it has got a lot better. But it is something that they are keen on as well still. So that I think that if you did want me to speak with New Law School or contact them, I've got a contact there. And if you want to do something like a competition where they put something forward and then we can put this out as poster out as the areas, right?
I think that's quite a good solution, Tom, if you want to do that.
I'm willing to do that. I'm not working group, I'm working with them.
You work with them.
You are
You're
now
still
working.
No, I'm not working group.
Good idea. Would you like to join?
No.
So that's it, that's the end of our waste management remit. Right.
For the time being.
For the time being.
Would you like me to invest in some thank you cards to send to the dog waste volunteers with a nice letter and slogan? Okay, how much we appreciate them.
Yeah.
Right. The next topic is tourism, and again, Councillor Bailey wrote an update on what's happening. Are there any actions arising from that update? There's a lot of things in your report where you just think it's kind of a wish list of things that would be really nice to have, like having a heritage centre. Yeah.
No, actually achieving a bit more.
No.
We haven't got the heritage centre might be a way now.
But I think that tourism is linked to the way we use the civic, the public toilets, the buses. There's lots of things that you were touching on. So
it's about supporting the local economy.
Yes.
Bringing visitors in. So.
Yeah.
But no, apart from that, I will not add anything to my report unless anyone's got any question. And in terms of the working group, I am the working group.
I will join you on the working group then, Lawrence, if you would like to work with anybody else.
Yes, that's absolutely fine. But can I also say it's more the approach to this is more about working in partnership with other organisations.
Yes.
In
I was a bit inclined to calling it a wish list because I meant it's about communicating ideas.
Which is working well.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that because both Lawrence and I are on the heritage working group.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just going to say, tourism, have you filled in that new tourism strategy thing that Lisa have done?
Well, not only that, but the officer has said that he will liaise with me, and I have said that if he wanted to come and liaise with the rest of the council, he could do, but we'll see about it. Yes, thank you.
Oh, sorry, Tom.
I think one of the big things we can continue to do is supporting events in the Home Valley. We've had the Folk Festival that brings so many people into really good for business. Art Festival is coming up this weekend. It was Pride yesterday. I was in Hunthorpe yesterday. So lots of people coming on the bus, parking up in the co-op, walking in. It's supposed to be over 2,000 people visited Hunthorpe yesterday for that. Wow. So it's about providing a product for people, make people want to come into the area. So if you have something like an event on at the pitch drone that brings lots of people in, they'll go for a meal, they'll stay over, things like that. The Civic as well. It's about providing a product, providing a product and a service. And it is really good at the moment. There's lots of bars and lots of reasons to go visit Hunthorpe during the rest of the time, but the festivals, we continue to support them, and by supporting them, we are supporting local businesses as well.
Yeah.
Just to say, I put a correction for myself, not got a working group. I put, so do you want to create a working group?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Two people count as groups.
Just have a chat.
Can I just, I don't know whether this is opening this out a little bit, but this idea of a heritage centre linked to the civic and the development here and tourism generally. The vision meeting has been set for the 4th of August, and we had some talk about whether we should, as a council, have discussed all our ideas before that meeting, when we would be with the architect of that meeting. So it's whether we need to have a meeting beforehand, so we discuss what we want out of that visioning exercise.
It's going to be on the agenda on the 23rd at full council, and also F&M, if you're aware, it is something that the working group.
So it could be discussed. We'll have. Does it have to be a full council discussion or a F&M discussion? I think that's what I'm just. Or I'm just wondering where it's going to be discussed.
Because you've asked me, I put it onto full council.
You did that today.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
But I know F&M, one of the there's a note of caution sounded in that, you know, there is potentially an issue if you arrive at this meeting and there's a sort of preconceived idea of what the parish council wants, and obviously there's been concern expressed about how the trust would react to that, hasn't there? Yeah. So, and that was one of the reasons why the working group, I know from F&M, was sort of seen as being the best place to. But I completely take your point, Jenny, which is why I put it on the agenda so that you've got full council who can say whatever it is they want to say.
I think
And we will have a working group meeting before then.
I think the general feeling is it'd be very, very complicated. You have 24 different voices saying things, but not that you've got it stitched up and we know what we want, but just that we've honed it down to something that's a bit more easy to discuss.
I just think F&M decided to set up a working group, a meeting rather, to discuss before we went to the formal meeting, didn't we?
The working group to meet, that's what F&M decided.
Yes,
Yeah.
So everybody's got the opportunity, given that everybody can be on F&M, to take part in that.
It was a working group that's already up and running regarding civic issues, like reviewing the lease and VAT.
We said we'd take on the other stuff as
I
well.
obviously misunderstood. I thought
And we have got a meeting coming up.
for anybody to come and talk about what they wanted to include. No, I've obviously misunderstood.
That's not.
But that's basically part of my fear, because I think there's some very, very grand designs. What that group, that one on in August, we've said that we're going to let the architects basically run that out.
Well, they're going to facilitate.
They're going to facilitate it and come and show us what the plans are.
They need a brief.
Yeah, but the trust.
Can I just refer people to the email you've all had from me?
Yes.
And that's what the 4th of August will be looking at.
Yeah, no, I think the brief, how you set it out, it will be both everybody's points of view, but I think there's a danger of 24. If you're discussing it, then that needs to be reported back to full council.
Which it will be,
That's
because
correct.
we're having a meeting before full council.
That's correct. And then on the 23rd, we'll have a chance to at least have some coherent or several different notions, you know, that more than one. I'm not saying we have one, definitely not one definite.
My only fear is I don't want to alienate the trust, because if the trust
absolutely
also got
agree.
alienated and they walked out,
No,
putting it
we don't want to do that. That's why I think we want to have sorted a few things out before we meet, so that we know we're working together with them.
Yeah,
Needs to be a
it's about
partnership.
being the most communicative in the most positive way, really, rather than, yeah.
Needs to be a
Not the
partnership.
crossfire.
We don't want to alienate them, because if they go, then we're,
Absolutely.
I won't say it, but
Okay, are we okay with that then?
So did you want to consider a motion to set up this working group, tourism working group? Which will be at the moment.
I propose that we set the tourism working group, with the members of which are Councillor Bailey and Councillor Bell.
I'll second that.
All in favour?
Thank you.
Then you mean the first half.
I might want to join.
well, you can't now.
Right, okay. A report about the youth work going on in the Hose Valley.
Yes, so there is a report, sorry for all the redactions, but I just have to take the names out. There is a report in your pack, as you are aware. What we're looking for really is for the committee to approve expenditure for Kirklees Youth Alliance and also give directions as to when payment should be made. I've made a suggestion that the motion recommends full council approving expenditure that's 25,000 and how that is to be paid. One payment of 10,000 following this meeting, then 5,000 after each remaining service provision committee meeting remaining across the council year. And just to say that they are on our list of regular payments, and so once expenditure is approved, payments can be authorised via 2 mandated signatures. So that's the way it works. If anyone's got any questions about the report.
That's what happened last year as well. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same as last year. Yeah. Yes, Sarah?
I would just like to say that this is one of our, youth is one of our, key priorities. This is flagship stuff as far as us saying that we support the youth of the Home Valley, and our continued financial support is absolutely critical. And I know that I've got a DPR here.
But
that is why.
we are the only council that supports youth work, aren't we?
I've got a question.
Yes.
Am Malcolm doing it again this year?
Malcolm do what?
Did
I-
you want
I
Malcolm
believe
Town, because they did last year. We're not the only one.
I believe that they also sort of provide services to Malcolm as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well that's why I asked if Malcolm had put in money in again this year, because I know they did last year.
I don't know for certain. I'm assuming so.
Right, okay, no, that's fine. I'll email them.
Right. So, oh, sorry, Rose.
So I was just going to say that I had a lot of concerns before the Cafe 100 group moved out of there, or was forced to move out of there really, into the tech, but it seems as though the move has actually been really quite positive and it seems to increase their numbers.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just think it's one of the most important things that we do, and having visited there with Councillor Bailey and Councillor Ryler, having visited the session and talked a bit to the young people who were there, it is really an excellent provision. And there's one quite moving quotation in there as well. I think it's brilliant. It's excellent work.
Can I just add to that, that one of the big advantages of moving from that single place, which was great as an ideal. However, what they've got now is access to a whole range of facilities and engagement opportunities with other people and groups who work within the tech, and they have a big remit for community engagement, which we absolutely should be supporting.
Glenn might be able to answer this. How's on the youth getting?
So Kirklees Youth Alliance support youth work in Honley through our initiative. What happens as well is Honley Youth also have an agreement with Kirklees Youth Alliance using the same youth worker to do additional work
They do,
in Honley.
Tyler.
Yeah. So we pay for extra time basically. So Tyler gets time to do all the things she needs to do in Homley.
Is that paid from Homley Youth? Or
Youth,
is that paid
Homley
from,
Youth.
so that doesn't come out of this?
No,
Right,
no.
that's,
We do supply some time
that's
paid
what
from
I'm
this,
querying.
but there's
You
an
are
additional payment which is a separate agreement with
Yeah,
local youth
I just
lodge.
that wasn't clear.
I would just throw in that, you know, from a year ago, I think the reporting's much better and much regular, more regular.
It is.
So that's been good.
She's first class.
Right.
So there's a recommendation you might want to consider about expenditure. That's a big thing.
Yes.
It's in your budget. Yeah,
Yes.
you do need to vote on it.
Okay.
It's in your budget, but this is the way in which we actually get the money to them.
Okay, right. So do we have to do a proposal and second it? Or we
You
just
do.
vote? Right, okay.
Okay.
Okay, and who will second it? And then all in favour of repaying the youth worker?
Thank you.
Right, now transport working group and Stops Minibus provision. Say anything about
I won't add
the report? that
too
you
much
made?
to the report, take questions if anyone wants to ask. I think it's a bit of an odd time at the moment in terms of the run-up. As I understand it, no expert on this at all, but in the run-up to the franchising arrangement and so on, which I believe is still aimed for 2027, and that could make things, I'm told, a little bit uncertain in terms of the local Valley Bus service. I've not had a chance, since I wrote this report, I've been away until today, so I've not had a chance to follow up with West Yorkshire Combined Authority about whether they know how this will affect the local service. So I think it's kind of watch this space. But obviously it's relevant for us both in terms of our concern to maintain that local service, but also because we partly fund it as well. We'll see where that goes. In the meantime, we're still trying to sort of promote use of the bus services. There was some question as to whether the timing was right, given the disruption in the middle of Home Firth at the moment and how that impacts on the bus services. So we'll have to see whether that that's a good timing. But what we are doing and working with Gemma on this is trying to ensure that the free buses that are being provided, I think just next Saturday, by Stotts, we're not paying any extra for that, that's come purely from Stotts, for the Arts Festival. But we wanted very much to capitalise on that. We want to sort of say, if you are going to become new passengers and new users of that service, then we want to make sure that they continue to go afterwards. So we're working on some materials for that.
I can add a little bit to that as well, because I've become linked to Sarah Wells, who's Penistone Line Partnership, which is obviously the railway line to Sheffield. But she is fully on board with the way that you want to link up trains and buses, and she's offered the services of a graphic artist who's done some of the promotional work for her, if we wanted to do it for bus routes around here. Because I personally think that one of the things I would like to see is a schematic map of where the buses go. Because it's something very visual that would make people go, oh right, I can get up here. And Sarah said, when I went on one of her expeditions, which I'll talk about in a minute, that she was quite happy to get this person to quote again in this financial year to see whether we wanted to take that up. And I, for one, think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't know what the rest of you think. I think it's quite a simple thing to do, quite an effective thing to do.
I think that's the sort of thing that comes under whether we have this working group continuing and its objectives.
Yeah.
And that links to, actually, the
Last part.
the next, because the transport working group was actually set up between case and service provision, wasn't it?
It was.
So there's a discussion to be had there.
Yeah. Okay. So we consider the membership objectives and remit of the working group of the transport.
Yeah, so I believe the membership has been Councillor Bailey, Councillor Barnett, Councillor Lyles, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Blacker and Councillor Dixon.
Yes.
All willing to stand
Do you
again?
want to carry on? Yeah. Do you want to join us?
Yeah, I'll join.
Sorry?
I'm interested in
Sorry.
joining as well.
Just ignoring this.
I'm out where you feel the view. So, yeah.
Yeah, so Sarah and Chris as well.
We might perhaps look at a new lead for the group, but we can talk about that as a group.
Yeah, we'll fix a meeting to decide on the direction of travel.
So are you going to approve that change in membership then?
Okay.
Yeah, propose we accept that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So was that a vote? No, we weren't going to say anything, so no. Right. So the last one is climate action activities, which quite nicely overlap with some of the things we've talked about already.
This is quite a simple one, I think, because what I'm proposing here is that we need to have a look at what we said we were going to do and whether we're still going to do it or whether we want to do something different. And you will know that the same thing happened with community engagement, but we'd already set up from, there's all that story there.
Yeah.
So my proposal would be to use the existing structures review working group to actually have a look at those issues that are still remaining, do we want to, and come back with some proposals to service provision.
Okay, I think I would embellish that by saying how you integrate those into some of the projects, the things that we're
Oh, absolutely.
About, rather than an add-on.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll be joining things that we're thinking about.
So that my proposal is that we use the existing structures review working group to take up a discussion and come with proposals.
Which is,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Yeah. So what's the membership at the moment of the structures review working group?
Mary?
I was on it.
Yeah.
Stephen was on it, I think.
Jenny, you were on it. Steve,
Yeah.
you were on it, weren't you? Yeah.
So,
I mean, if anybody else wants to join it, you're more than welcome.
yeah, I was going to say, so if the people who were on it before, are you happy to continue? Does anyone else want to join?
I said I was going to stand down.
Oh, you did actually, yes. Right.
You can rejoin if you want to.
You made me
Really
the first
exciting. No. Right, okay, so I'll work.
Sorry, let me just check that I've got this right. So Councillor Blacker, Councillor Morgan, Councillor Ransby, Councillor Whitehall, is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. Any additions?
Glenn?
Can you vote on that one, please?
Okay. Voting silently.
Do you want to join? You said you want to join, Harry?
In case, then.
The structures review working group that he's going to look at.
There's nothing You'll learn a lot,
You can have a look at the minutes of the first meeting and then see whether you want to join in. Well, you've joined the communications group, yes, sir.
What?
Yes,
Yeah.
you have.
I've never joined the other bit.
Really?
That is straight after the other one, isn't it, on Wednesday?
No, we haven't said it yet.
You didn't know that?
We've got a meeting on Wednesday.
Yes.
Well, someone proposed you and,
And I've been voted in.
yeah,
You see,
What's that doing?
9:30
it's how it
and
works.
then 11 o'clock.
This one after.
So what's happening on Wednesday, sorry?
The events meeting. Who said you'll be there? You're on that
What
one.
time's that? Because I've also just agreed to go.
That's
Nine
the week
o'clock.
after.
That's the week after.
And that's week after that one.
Right,
This
just,
Wednesday.
So you're going to be spending your own day.
Do you want me to? Somebody send a WhatsApp so Harry gets to know when we're here.
Right, so the last part of the meeting is there any items for publicity? Lady, you want to promote?
It seems very early, but we'll be publicising about the Christmas trees.
Yeah, Tom?
The works on the toilets, because if we're actually doing them, there's going to be some disruption, I'd imagine, and
I suppose
it might be worth letting people know in advance what's happening and what's going on. And if they are still open, we should say they are still open, even though if this thing's going, there's a lot of scaffolding around it.
Yeah. But there will be.
I think you saying something about the Pride event that we supported.
The toilets are all closed.
You know, as an example of how we've supported a particular event which involved lots, well, almost everybody, businesses, HVT, 70 businesses, fantastic. And we've been part of that, so, but it's how you frame it.
Yeah. Is that a full council thing really, rather than coming out of this committee?
Is it?
Yeah, sorry.
Well, is it too late? Is there enough time to promote the use of Scots buses for the arts festival?
I think in hand, but I agree, I was just going to say the same thing, we should be blowing our trumpet and Scott's trumpet.
Yeah, and can it be combined with an expression of support for all the festivals, arts festival, Pride festival, etc., so it can be mentioned as a very positive thing that we're doing.
I mean, we're supporting all the festivals
Yes,
in one way or another via the tourism thing, apart from the public transport.
Yes.
As a principle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, we're supporting the festival.
Would it be sensible way to just what's on there? Because you've got Holiday Show as well. Can you look at the end, which we are a sponsor of as well.
Yes. Yeah, that's quite soon actually.
It's coming very soon, yes.
If we're going to do a post about Scots buses supporting the local area, would it not be good to have Carl start having a speech about why he supports the local area? People would like to see that.
A little bit of an interview with him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we know that, we won't say that, is it?
It's a bit blank.
Yeah.
There's a lot to think about.
That's because we're providing a good service.
Right, anything else? I think that's plenty. So I'm closing the meeting at